What's up, everybody? Tim Anderson here, aka Renfail. This tweet just caught my eye. I just watched the Stranger Things season 4 trailer a little bit ago. I was trolling Twitter, and all of a sudden I see this thing from fandom where it says the Duffer Brothers confirm the big bad of Stranger Things 4 is none other than D&D's frightful Arch-Lich Vecna, which blew my freaking mind, and we're going to be diving into this today. So hopefully you're along for the ride because it's a pretty cool interview over at IGN. We're going to be going through it here in the video and a little bit of backstory. Vecna is a huge part of my D&D experience with my characters, which I'll talk a little bit about in this episode. If this is your first time here and you like this video, I'd love it if you could do me a favor. Go ahead and smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon so you get updates like this delivered to you in the future. I do lots of different things here on YouTube, books, games, movies, TV shows, all sorts of other stuff. We have a gaming community and a Discord. Links are down below. Let's just dive right in. So if you haven't watched the trailer yet for season 4 of Stranger Things, you really need to. I'm not going to play any audio because I don't want to get any copyright strikes or anything like that, copyright claims. But it's just if you haven't watched it yet, it's intense. Whole bunch of spoilers. So before I go any further, make sure you understand that this article at IGN has a bunch of spoilers for Stranger Things season 3. And there's obviously some stuff that could affect season 4. So if you don't want any spoilers and you haven't finished watching season 3, make sure you go ahead and look away now. I'll give everybody a few seconds. All right, we've got plenty of time. So we're going to dive through this whole thing, but I want to go back to just very bottom. That's what we're going to start with, and then we're going to go back and read through everything. Perhaps the juiciest part of this trailer was not one, but two shots of our new big bad, who, as the brothers revealed, is named Vecna. There's a shot at the very beginning, which is from this screenshot, and then, yeah, it's pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing. Um, they talk about how ever since season 2, they wanted to do a character that was similar to the horror figures that terrified them growing up, from Freddy Krueger to Pinhead and Pennywise. And those were the monsters that really inspired us. So, and they said what you're seeing here is 90% practical effects, and Vecna throughout the season is 90% practical. We wanted a presence on the set that our actors could react to, whereas in season 3 they were reacting to a beach ball. Um, Dun, 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 dun. Barry Gower, the artist behind the Night King's terrifying look, was the prosthetics artist behind Vecna. He also worked on radiation victims in HBO's Chernobyl, which is where he caught the Duffer's eye. So before we go any further, Vecna, if Lich Vecna, let's look him up really quick. Vecna. Oh man. He was a once human lich from Earth who ascended to godhood. As a deity, he did not claim a domain, but instead wandered the entire multiverse, maintaining the citadel of Cavitius, in the on the border of the negative energy plane, rested away from a Doomguard long before. Later became his prison as it was drawn to the mains of the dark powers. So here's a little backstory for you on my experience with Vecna. So when I first really got into Dungeons and Dragons back in 1999 with my buddy Ted, who I've referenced a few times in some of my episodes, he is basically my D&D mentor. He's the guy who taught me how to really role play and everything else. That campaign, I had two characters that I was playing. Renfail, that's the name I've carried since I was 19 years old as the character that I play in all my video games. It's my online persona, etc. Renfell was a half-elf ranger, and his cousin was Karis, an elven assassin mage. And he started off as chaotic good, and she was not. And her actions throughout the course of the campaign ended up drawing him in, and she eventually got to the point where she found the eye of Vecna and literally took out her own eye so that she could put the eye of Vecna in her own head, thus giving her these nasty powers, including this special ability we made up called Jelly Bones, where once per day she could just look at someone and it would turn their bones to jelly. And in the first few chapters of Echoes of the Past, which is the first book of Saga Leucemia, if you've ever read any of my work, uh, there's a jelly bones encounter. So definitely that's something that has influenced my D&D career. It's influenced some of my writing. I mean, I love they're kind of throwing these things into my campaigns and my books. And the character Renfail followed suit shortly after in that campaign and ended up cutting off his own hand and putting on the Hand of Vecna. So the two of them had the Eye of Vecna and the Hand of Vecna and proceeded to both become neutral evil characters who wreaked havoc throughout the realm. Um, it was an intense campaign that went on for a couple of years, and I've always looked at Vecna as this terrifying figure whose power was so seductive that it took a character who was chaotic good and turned him neutral evil. So I love the fact that we're getting this character in season 4 of Stranger Things. And honestly, look at that. Like, that's just ugh, nasty. Let's go back up to the BS article because there's some great stuff here in this IGN piece. And of course, everyone should go ahead and read through it if they've got the time. And watch the trailer, obviously. The Duffer Brothers previously teased that this season was their Game of Thrones season, given the fact that the characters are spread out after the Byers and Eleven moving to California at the end of season 3 and Hopper being in Russia after, well, not actually dying, and the rest of the crew remaining in Hawkins, Indiana. Kids are all teenagers now. The Duffers tease that this is going to be a Max heavy season, as Sadie Sink's character deals with the fallout of her brother's sacrificial death at the end of season 3. Um, a lot of stuff going on here. We see a lot of powers being shown um, during the trailer. There's a quote here. So many bad things have happened in this town that people are starting to question what's going on here. The government has attempted to push things under the rug, but that mall fire and all of that was too big really for anyone to ignore. So there's a growing sense that there's something wrong with this town, and people are even saying that it's curse. Um, oh man. Speaking of Russia, Hopper's there. We get a glimpse of Hopper fighting a Demigorgon in some kind of a pit, which was just, it looks like a crazy sequence in and of itself. They talk about how that's something they've always wanted to do, this gladiator style sequence with a Demigorgon, and the idea of seeing it in the snow is something they've been hinting at and excited about doing for about 4 years now, which just sounds crazy. Oh, by the way, speaking of horror influences and everything else, Victor Creel is here, played by Robert Englund, none other than Freddy Krueger in The Nightmare from Elm Street. So we're definitely getting some nostalgia pulled in with some of these older actors as well. Um, anyway, highly recommend that folks take a chance to dive into the season 4 trailer. And if you don't if you don't know who Vecna is, you really should go do some reading on this character. And I love the fact that they actually put Vecna into this show. Um, Obviously, I would say that it's probably going to be their own take on the character of Vecna, but I think the fact that the kids play D&D is going to tie into why we actually see the Arch-Lich Vecna in this show. Um, I'm stoked, everybody. Like, I'm really excited. I can't wait to see this. I just season 3 was amazing, but overall, Stranger Things has been one of these cultural phenomena things. It's kind of like Game of Thrones in that it's just a really damn good show that hits all the right notes. And hopefully, it's not going to have the shitty ending that Game of Thrones have had. I don't know. Love to hear your thoughts on Vecna showing up in this. Drop them down below. Don't forget, if you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon so you get updates like this in the future. Don't forget to join our Discord. Links are down below. And if you want to support, you can always join as a member here on YouTube or head over to patreon.com/wandering hermits, where my brother, my wife, and I are building the World of the Weave and the Void, which is a point and click adventure game due out later this year. It's also a 5th edition tabletop campaign setting with the source book out in June and a book series like Dragonlance with chapters being published twice a month. So head on over there, subscribe, pre-order, all the good things, and I'll see everybody in the next episode. Stay safe, everyone. Until next time.